Are there advantages to aging? Yes, I am Debbi-Jo Horton, and welcome to Advantages to Aging. Join my guests and I as we discuss aging and what makes for a healthy lifestyle, which results in a quality life. Thank you for joining me today. Hello, listeners. Welcome back for another amazing episode of Advantages to Aging. And today we have Martie Weatherly with us, and she is one incredible lady. Welcome, Martie.
Well, thank you. And I'm delighted to be here.
Let me tell you a little bit about Martie, why I say she's so incredible. So she is in her late 80s, and she is an amazing woman. And she's really excited to share the cream of her 87 years with you. She's passionate about people living fully into their 80s, 90s, even 100s. And she is out to alter the perception of aging from the inevitable slide downhill to a time of discovery, contribution, and finding your purpose and revitalizing your bucket list. So that is why I say she is such an incredible lady. So tell me, Martie, how are you staying active and engaged at 87? I love that.
Yes. Well, I don't feel 87. And I actually forget that I'm 87 until I start counting how many great grandchildren I have. And number 16 is now on the way. So the reason why I love being 87 is because I can live and watch my great grandchildren grow up and see them growing up and coming into the world and growing to be young men and women. And how I do it is I think I'm always too busy. That's the first thing. I always have more to do than I can do. I have some things I'm passionate about. I love coaching, which is what my career has been since I gave up my nursing career. Well, actually before then. And I love seeing people take on a big challenge and make it. Take on a big vision, a big vision. And one of the ways that I stay young is that I have things that I've taken on that are big visions. Well, I have to work at it. I'm learning new things all the time. And sometimes that's frustrating, but that's the way you keep your brain active. And that's one of the best ways now they've found to prevent dementia is to have things that where you have to think and think hard, not just crossword puzzles, which I do, but things where you have to figure just what I was doing this morning. I had 3 things to do and every one of them had a problem with it.
An interesting thing that you said was, like a coaching and vision. And I personally find that people don't have a big enough vision. They don't have a big enough dream list. And you and I had talked a little bit before about having a bucket list and then, like, and actually doing what's on the bucket list. And sometimes our bucket list are those things that we know we're going to do instead of those things that we have to reach for. Can you share a little bit about that with us?
Yes. Actually, in my case, I had given up on my bucket list. I had forgotten all about the dreams that I had of maybe taking a train across Canada, which I've wanted to do all my life. I still haven't done it. I'm not sure it's still on my bucket list, but I realized that I had given up on them. And that's when I realized that it's time to make a new bucket list and put on things like going across Canada or going out to California, or things that are just a huge challenge that you can't imagine ever doing. Like for me, it would be increasing my business by tenfold in the next year. Something like that, that just seems impossible. And that's one of the things that I actually talk about in the program that I have with people who are either retired or thinking about being retired. And that is that it really is time to come up with new ideas and make a bucket list. And then, as you say, start doing them. so that we actually are taking on things that seem impossible to us. And I use the term a big game or an impossible game, something that we think we're just not going to be able to do. And I think that's just as you said, it's not just having something it's big and I think I'm going to do it and I'm going to keep working at it. It's taking on something that I don't see how I could ever do that. And it can be a big thing or a small thing. About 5 months ago, I was walking with a cane and I just said, I am going to give up this cane. And then I did things, physical therapy and exercises and all kinds of things. I really didn't think I could. And I am now walking without a cane.
That's
So it's possible for us to do things that we never think we can do. And that is a wonderful thing to do at this age. Instead of thinking that we're limited by our age, we want to be living fully regardless of our age.
I love that. I really, really love that. Living fully regardless of our age, because the
Yeah.
reality is we should be living fully no matter what our age
Anything.
is, young, old. But you had mentioned retiring. So I know that oftentimes there are some big mistakes that people make after retiring. Can you touch a little bit about that?
Yes, I think the first mistake they make is they think that it's a time to relax, and just do nothing. And I think it's also that they think they're too old to do something. I'm too old to do that. That's having your age define you. Maybe you can't do it, but maybe you can have it as an impossible game and find out a way to do it.
Mm.
Um, the other
I
thing
love
that I
the
want to
what
say,
if, right? What if I
the
could
what
do
if.
it?
Yes, yeah, and not just what if you create it like not just like a hope, but just like, I'm just going to go for it.
Mm,
That's sort of the same, but it's getting away from just, well, I hope I can do it. That doesn't put you in action. But
right.
if you say, I'm going to take on the possibility of walking without a cane, no, I'm just taking that on, like I'm going to do that.
Mhm.
Then you're in a much different place where you're actually declaring what you're going to do,
Yes.
and you see things to do much much better.
Yeah, absolutely. That is so true. So, what do you actually do to find something to live for after you've retired, especially if you've defined yourself by your
Yeah,
career, right? What
yes,
do you do to find something to live for after that?
yes. Well, this is one of the things you can do is you can look at things. What are the things that I've always wanted to do in my life that I never had time for? Some people, it would be painting. People find different things. For some people, it's for one person who I knew had a very busy life in the business world, had been directing teams of people, had been, at high energy all the time. He wanted to do something where he had contact with kids. And so he volunteered or he worked, I don't know if he worked or volunteered, at a school passing out the milk at lunchtime. And he said, this is perfect for me. I don't have any responsibilities, but I just love being there with the kids. So for him, it was a toning down his level. For another person who had been a mom all her life and had been raising kids and had always wanted to run a business, have her own business, she took on having a business. And that put her in a high energy state. So she chose that. So it's important for each person to look at the passions that they've had and to really look at designing, look at really creating what the best purpose is for you. And the first thing to do is never retire.
Hey, DJ here. Are you like what I used to be like, with multiple different bottles of supplements and minerals and nutrients and trying to remember when you're supposed to take what when? Gone are those days. Neora's simplified system packs active ingredients in the smallest amounts of products that you have to take, making keeping your wellness and weight management simple.
Actually, I talk a lot about ikigai, which is an idea in Japan. And the interesting thing is that the Japanese don't even have a word for retire, meaning it the way we do, retire from business. So my motto is never retire, which is what I'm doing.
I love that. I love that. And you are super active in your life. So, I know that 87 is just a stepping stone into the hundreds for you.
I
So,
guess.
so in the show notes, listeners, you will find a complimentary PDF to revise your bucket list so that you can take advantage of some of Martie's wisdom. But I know that you also have a course that if people are interested in that course, there'll be a link in the show notes, but tell us a little bit of what they could expect in that course.
Yes, well, I've designed the course that's entitled Design Your Life After 70. It's primarily for people after 70, but not only. And I'll tell you why in a minute. It is a 5-week virtual, a hybrid course, home study course, where you get videos you work on that where you look at your life and you look at what the important things are. You look at, I help you find your purpose in life. I help you look at some ways to de-stress your life. And one of the conversations that we definitely have is that as we get older, we are going to have physical problems. And so if we have physical problems, how do we retain that excitement about life? We may have to do something a little different. My friend who can't see now can't go out on the trips she used to, but she's still engaging herself and designing her life to be active and contributing. And in my program, I don't give you answers. I just help each person find the passion in life, do some little tweaks in their habits to actually help us be younger, which is wonderful. And one of the important parts that I have in it is learning what to eat to feed your brain. And I know for people who are 30, 40, 50, aren't thinking about retirement yet, I would say that one of the things that's very important to do is to learn young what foods to eat that feed your brain, because unlike what they thought, our brains do grow as we get older. We do lay down new cells. And one of the ways we do that is by feeding it the right food. So, and that's something that you can learn. That's something that actually you should, if you learn when you're in your 20s, that will help to take care of your brain for all that time until you're 70 or 87.
Excellent. Listeners, did I not tell you that she was an incredible woman? Not only does she have such amazing wisdom, but she asks a lot of the right questions. And that really is what's so important. Whether you're getting ready to retire, you're wanting to live in a longer, fuller life, you should be asking yourself these questions now. So I might recommend that even if you are not over the age of 70, you're definitely going to want to check out her course because she's going to be asking you a lot of questions. And I know for me, when I hit those milestones, of having kids. I have been an entrepreneur all my life, but having kids kind of changes things, right? So you have to start
Yes.
to ask yourself those same questions. So it's not necessarily retiring in the sense that we think, but throughout your life, you're retiring stages of your life, you're retiring
Yes. Yes.
careers
Transit.
that you've had. It's that transition. So I know Martie's course is super good for all of that. So listeners, I hope that you've taken lots of great notes. If you forgot to do that because you were so engaged, go back, listen again, start to write those notes down, or better yet, click get that free bucket list PDF and sign up for Martie's course.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, Martie. We look forward to hearing even greater things coming from you.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Do you think one of the biggest advantages to aging is all the knowledge we gain along the way? Me too. What did you learn today? Share with me in my Facebook group with the same name as this podcast, Advantages to Aging. Now hit subscribe so you don't miss all the tips to come in future episodes.